Magic in the Morning, 8:36. Mike Barrett in the studio, and it is time for a weekly installment of Good Policies. Hold on, Mike. There we go. How you doing, my friend?
I'm well. How are you?
I am well, and with him, his faithful sidekick.
My faithful sidekick, Mr. Ethan, his first full week of summer break, and he woke up early to ride with me today. So, which isn't that early, but for almost 13-year-old, that's really early. So,
Ethan, I can't remember the last time you were in here, but you look like you've grown 4 inches.
Yeah, I probably have.
Yeah. All right, Good Policies. Mike, last week we had a chat about trading vehicles because you recently endured that experience.
I did.
And I've been looking at the weather here, and something we haven't talked about a bit as far as weather goes. I mean, we obviously talk about flooding and things of that nature. We've had some interesting occurrences here with tornadoes and such, and I don't know the guidelines, the stipulations, the requirements, or anything about that. Is it any different? Let's dabble in this.
You're bringing up a good point. So when it comes to a wind event in Vermont, and New Hampshire for that matter, and many states that do not normally have wind events, we are not necessarily going to see what other states have. So you think of the coastal states that get hit with hurricanes. You think of the Midwestern states that get hit with pretty heavy tornadic activity. In Vermont and New Hampshire, we're kind of not really going to see a lot of that. And as such, the insurance carriers have never really changed the way wind is handled. So it's very common where if tornado warnings are launched, or if a hurricane is en route, people will reach out to us and go, "Hey, am I covered for that?" And my favorite answer in the world is, yeah, you are, because it's going to just fall under the normal perils of your homeowner policy or your auto policy if you have comprehensive. Comprehensive is what's going to cover you if a tornado takes out your vehicle. And for your home, it's going to be wind. Now, there is a bit of a sidestep. There are some companies that give you the option to have a different wind deductible. So maybe you have $1,000 deductible for loss on your homeowner policy. If you're shopping around and looking at quotes, be mindful that some companies may be offering you a different deductible for wind. So maybe you have a $2,500 deductible wind. Maybe it's 1% or 2% of your home limit as a deductible. Those are significantly different than a regular policy that just says, hey, the deductible is the deductible. Tornado and hurricane, that is going to be categorized as a wind event.
All right, so I'm going to pass this memory test that you're not giving me, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I recall when it comes to flooding, there is a waiting period to get your coverage. So in other words, if you hear there are flood warnings for the Passumpsic River Valley, somebody can't just call you and get insurance.
That's correct. Yeah, it's a 30-day waiting period. So if you're looking for flood insurance and you're not getting a loan, there's only 2 ways that it can be waived. One is you're either getting a mortgage for a new purchase or doing a refinance, and there's a closing date in which the bank requires you to have that flood policy. Well, that would be the start date of the flood policy. The other option is some of the private carriers do offer less than a 30-day waiting period, but at the same time, they're very aware of what the weather's doing. And so if there's an event that's happening that's going to cause imminent threat, they're going to shut down the ability to buy. So you can't buy coverage as the storm is coming. That's important, but that does not happen.
Okay.
Because tornadoes are quick. There's not enough warning for you to reach out to your insurance agent and go, "Get me coverage." Now, for hurricanes, there can be people calling going, "Gosh, I haven't had coverage in a while. There's a hurricane coming. I need this." When the weather gets severe enough, and this is the same here as it is across the country, there is a suspension of new business or endorsements, actually both, that will be put in place by companies. So they will halt the ability for you to add coverage, to lower deductibles, or to write a new policy because of imminent threat. You see that a lot with the fires out west. People go, "God, there's a fire coming and I don't have any insurance." Well, guess what? They've now the entire state, the entire insurance offering of the state has said no more policies until this thing is handled. So, insurance is about the probability of loss, not the absolute guarantee. So that's really why those fail-safes are there.
Well, I'm glad I asked that question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, too, the frequency of tornadoes and even hurricanes here in the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont or the North Country of New Hampshire, it's not as frequent as it is in other places.
Right.
But the whole reason I thought this would be good to talk about is the tornadoes.
I know.
Plural.
Yeah.
2 of them within a 50-mile radius on the same day.
On the same day. That's a first for the state of Vermont. And, it's probably a fairly good sign of things to come. We're seeing the increase in severity of weather. And no matter how you want to shake it, it's happening. And so whether it be worse flooding, which we've seen, now it's time for the tornadoes to come into play. These things are happening. And so it's really a matter of making sure you've got the appropriate coverage, not for when or if, not for when that's happening, but for if that's going to happen. So
I got to borrow your phrase. I got to. You said when things are shaken. Now, also, too, it seems recently there have been some upticks in tremors and earthquakes.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Earthquakes are kind of the bane of my existence, and here's why. It's not because they're difficult to insure. They're super easy to insure. Pretty much most every insurance carrier, especially home, but certainly businesses as well, you can add earthquake coverage. It will be a percent deductible. It could be between 3, 5, 10% deductible versus a flat dollar amount. But it's available. Most people don't take it. In fact, nobody really takes it. They go, we'll never have that happen. The thing that we say in our industry is never say never. Because, gosh, my biggest fear, Jeff, is that the earth is going to rattle and we're going to have a ton of loss around Vermont or any other state that there's not a lot of activity. And people are going to find out the really difficult way that they don't have earthquake coverage.
All right, as we prep to wrap this up, one of your famous quotes is, "A lot of my friends don't get flood insurance." And you go, must be it doesn't rain where you are.
That is exactly our line. So if you don't get earthquake insurance, our thing is, must be you're not on land. I mean, come on. It's there. You just stood. Is there something that you, Mr. Meteorologist, want to say?
But what if, I know it's a low possibility, but what if there's a tsunami?
Oh, a tsunami. A tsunami. Yeah, that's just a different way of saying hurricane and big wave activity.
And earthquake.
Yeah. Hey, you never know.
No.
But if folks want to know, how can they get in touch with you?
So simple. Give us a call, 748-5224. Find us online, thebarrettagency.com. We're also on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, Barrett Insurance Agency. And, of course, our office right on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. 2 quick notes. One, we got our NEK Can Golf Tournament coming up Thursday. It's packed. It's full. And the weather looks good. We're stoked about it. And a brand new event coming is Cruising for a Cure. That'll be coming up in August at the Northeastern Speedway in Waterford, with all proceeds to go to NEK Can. So still a lot of cool things happening with our nonprofit.
I think that's great. You and Paul Belfay and the crew are going to be hanging out on Route 18. That's awesome.
That'd be fantastic.
All right, more good policies next week. We're on our way to our hometown minute thanks to Taplin's Septic Pumping Service and Repair. Got music for you now from Halsey. Magic in the Morning.